Great. So we have already completed all of the speakers. Then now we move to the last session, which is a panel discussion. So I would like to turn the forum over to the Mike. Right? Hey, Mike, 你好。
嗨，你好。
好，交给你了，好吧？
好的，
这是你的。
好，
谢谢。
好，各位嘉宾，下午好。下面呢，我们进入到
distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, next day is a panel discussion. We'd like to introduce to you the participants at the roundtable discussion. Royan. He is from the UK Standard International Organization, Knowledge and Manager Committee Director, Royan. Rajesh from the Singapore Knowledge and Management Association, welcome. We also have Xie Xia, the Vice Dean of Hainan University Computer School. Zhou Ming, the Dean of the Training Journal, China Enterprise Development Academy. So we have Chunling, the Meilan Airport Training Center. So we would like to ask you to open your microphone and open your camera. Okay. Ms. Wang, would you please open your microphone, camera? So we would like to ask Ms. Wang, open your camera, open your microphone. So we would like to invite you to have this roundtable discussion in China. So in various organizations, how to extract the tacit knowledge. So on a couple of steps. So we would like to invite the experts to introduce your organization to us first. Okay, so Dean Xie, would you please introduce your organization? Thank you. I'm from Hainan University. Well, can you hear me? And I'm very clear. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. And all the experts, all the online friends. I'm from the computer school, Hainan University. Our Hainan Tropical Agriculture University and Hainan University combined into a Hainan University, 211 University. We have the very good motto. We are really inclusive and we are open. We hope that in the free trade port development that we will be able to contribute our contribution, our use, our blood. Thank you very much. We would like to invite Royan to make an introduction. Royan, welcome.
Royan 先生能听到我说话吗？
Royan, can you hear the translation? Royan, can you hear the translation?
Please.
You'd like to know a little more about my background, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I started with knowledge management in 1993. That's a long time ago. And I've seen a lot of changes in the way that we can communicate, especially the World Wide Web and what's following. And communications is the fundamental part of what we need to do to be able to then learn and create knowledge. So this has been a wonderful time in this last 30 years, really. And I think the next 5 to 10 years are going to be even faster. So that's my interest here in Cambridge.
OK，Thank you。我们有请新加坡管理协
Thank you
会
very much. Let's welcome Rajesh from the Singapore the Management Innovation Association.
Hello from Singapore. So it's nice to be here and to join a panel
Yeah.
with experts and of course with Ron. Well, Ron's been around and in KM for the last 30 years. For me, it's been 20 years. And exactly like what Ron said, it's going to be exciting times. We are on the ground, practitioners first, and listening to what is lying ahead for the future of KM and tacit knowledge. It's going to be an interesting ride. So I'm looking forward to the next 5 to 10 years. Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Thank you, Rajesh。下面有请新华报业的周敏院长。
Let's welcome Dean Zhou and to introduce ourselves. Xinhua. Yes. I'm from the Xinhua Baoye Media Group, Zhou Mei. This is Xinhua Baoye. It's really the initiator for Xinhua News. Our training magazine is also very important professional platform for the training and serving a lot of companies. And we have the Chinese Enterprise Talent Development Academy. It is a very important organization to train talents. We hope that we will really set up the Chinese training participants standards and evaluation system to integrate our resources platform and work together with very professionals and teams to really build up the talent base and from the training to introduce the talents to the talent base, provide a holistic training service. Sorry, no sound. Maybe the moderator mute himself. No sound, no sound.
Mike, I think you were mute.
对，请黄春林老师介绍一下他自己。
We would like to invite Huang Chunling. Ms. Huang Chunling, introduce herself.
能听到吗？
Ms. Huang Chunling, can you hear us? Ms. Huang Chunling, can you hear us?
能听到吗，黄院长？
So, can you hear us?
你用一下热点，用热点接上去。黄院长用热点接上去。
So currently there is an internet connection issue, so we couldn't contact with Ms. Huang. The moderator is suggestion Ms. Huang to connect to the hotspot of the
能
smartphone.
听到吗？黄院长这边可能出了点故障。我们
Oh yes, because of internet connection, let's move on. Maybe we wait later on and to let her introduce herself later on. Thank you for your participation. So we are going to discuss about the extraction of the tacit knowledge from the organization, so as to meet the need of the real practice. We would like to ask you, integrating to your organization, now how to extract the tacit knowledge, tacit skill from your organization and put that into the practice, and also how to describe the current status. Thank you very much. So I would like to share my perspective with you. Well, I believe that you are all experts. I'm from the university. I would like to share with you about our pain points when we are training our students. There are some companies, upstream companies, or these enterprises just inform us. When we are training our students, they want us to pass this tacit knowledge to our students, but it's difficult for us to get to know what kind of is so-called tacit knowledge. We just want to tell our, for example, enterprises like Ms. Huang, what kind of test technology you want? I just want to ask Ms. Huang this question. Okay. Okay, we want to Ms. Zhou to share with us about that and what kind of the test technology you want to have for us. So we are in the training and talent development. We are a platform organization. In the past 10 years, for these enterprises, and in terms of the extracted tested knowledge and convert this tested knowledge into the explicit knowledge, and we will carry out some investigations and follow-ups, and we found out that there are a couple of areas. Firstly, it is hope that they want this kind of internal trainer. This internal trainer will help extract tested knowledge and then to train the internal staff. So this is the first, and the second, they hope that these senior managers or the middle level managers that will extract their own experience, tested experience, and convert it into the brochure, and other people can learn from them. Certainly, they hope that these technical backbones experts can extract their experience and to formulate the standard operation procedure so that to share with other partners. And also for some leading enterprises, they hope that their leading the knowledge will be extracted and to be the industry standard, so as to help the whole industry develop forward. Then these leading companies will set the benchmark role model for the industry. In this process, we found that these enterprises they have this need. They have the pain points. They found out the brain drain, etc. For example, brain drain is a big problem, a big issue. They really have made a lot of trial. Finally, they found that there are some problems. For example, we would like to summarize these problems here and share with you. So first of all, about the brain drain, there are a lot of brain drains. During the experience and extraction, they found out that some key people have already left the company. So that's a big loss for the company in terms of the management. And secondly, internally, they do not have the professionals to convert these tested knowledge into the explicit knowledge. And we do not have this extractor in the company. Certainly, when you carry out the work, and actually this kind of work is just like a sporadic work, ad hoc work, like a workshop and a very miniature kind of activities. Actually, it's not complete. Then finally, there is no outcome. Fail to deliver our goal. Fourthly, when we have the personal experience, we extract this experience from the individual. We hope that there will be the organization experience. Finally, it will be carried on to a lot of people, next generation. But finally, we found that before they put that experience into use, it's not escalated to the organization level. Then people just start to use it. Of course, and it will impact the later use, and the use effect will also be discounted. Firstly, the iteration or the updating of the experience is not timely in this uncertain world, the VUCA world, and it causes us we should be very flexible and very quick and quite quickly respond to the market. If we could not have the timely iteration or upgrading, then we will lag behind, and our business management will lag behind. Lastly, we believe that in our real implementation, we should pay more attention to the management level and our leaders' evaluation. And we believe that we sometimes the leaders or ignore these experience, ignore these demand, etc. So these are all these issues over the past 10 years that we have followed up. We have identified all these needs and all these pain points, and they have made great efforts, but they still have some pain points. They still have some problems. So we would like to share that, and we hope that our experts will give us some advices or suggestions. Oh, thank you very much. From the training perspective, you give us some need. Yeah, share with us. Wonderful. We would like to listen to our enterprises perspective. So 这个海南美兰 Airport 的 Training Center 黄春玲 we would like to ask her to introduce herself and also share with us about the instruction of the basic knowledge. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Very clear. I can hear you. I'm Huang Chunling. I'm very glad to get here together with you to share with you from Haikou Meilan International Airport. I'm responsible for the internal training and training various kind of talents inside the company, and I try best to the high ground for training our airport personnel.
Hainan Airport ranked number 16 in China and guaranteed the throughput of 35 million passengers. And we rank number 28 among the top 100 airports, and we are the first 5-star airport of schedules globally. So that's a brief sharing from my side. Please go ahead. Well, as I would like to respond to the sharings from previous two experts, and I would like to share with you our pain points from the corporate perspective. Well, just as Professor Zhou has shared with us about the professional training institutions, and actually our corporate is also having some knowledge management. Since 1999 up to now, we have developed knowledge management, such as the service-oriented culture and SOP, as well as a series of books regarding 5-star airports, our service management and systems, etc. So with these approaches, we try to explicify those tacit knowledge. And I would like to share with you some highlights on our best practices. For example, in the process of explicifying the tacit knowledge, there are several approaches adopted by us. In the past 1 year, based on the 1348 talent development and policy of Hainan Free Trade Port, we have initiated some specific programs developing a program. We have provided some mystery passengers badges for them. So those management teams from different stakeholders, they are playing the role of normal passengers, and also they used our service and trying to identify the excellent performance or the behaviors of staffs, and then giving the badges to them to acknowledge their service. Employees who have received those badges would receive incentives and awards from the company and also would be sent to overseas for further study. This is going to help the employees to further improve their skills and we found later we have found there are some limitations of this approach. Therefore, we further developed a platform. Those templates or best performances would be presented and would be showed on the platform. Therefore, their performance and their stories would be reflected or be told on the platform. And then tips of services would be developed. Therefore, more employees will take them as an example, and our standard of service can be further improved, and employees can be helped with further improvement. However, in the past few years, we have a high turnover of employees. So therefore, this may only reflected during those activities or programs, however, not being extracted and retained. Therefore, we have worked with partners to develop a workshop and train those staffs. We try to screen those cases, setting them as examples, try to copy or roll out those examples and make them into a manual. So during this process, just like President ZHOU mentioned, a series of issues exist still. Therefore, with the guidance of professional institutions, it is the extraction of tacit knowledge is very important and need to be supported by the top management team of the company. So we need to get employees involved and also we have set up a month for case study. We have developed those lecturer programs, developing talents and a pool, and also getting a top-down and also bottom-up approaches and letting the awareness of learning to be improved. And this would also be considered as the standards or criteria for us to recruit new talents. And we would tell the stories of those in best performances and in the company and let them set them as an example. Thank you for your sharing. And now I just want to mention talent as mentioned by President Xie. So once graduates entered companies and we spend a lot of time and resources into developing them. So the cost is quite high. And President Xie has mentioned a good point. Those trainings can be provided in advance and in campus. So we can go to campus and also have sharings among students regarding their future career development. Meanwhile, actually, universities can also send their students for internship in our company, letting them understand what kind of capabilities should they equipped. And with those mature research type of talents, and best practice can be recorded and shared. And then standardization can be developed So then standards can be adopted and for further practice. So with a continuous and iteration from company to school or school to company, we can develop talents in such a way. Thank you very much, Ms. Huang. You have shared with us about how to develop tech talents and advices for universities. Now let's hear from international experts' view. From their perspective, what are their advices and for tacit and knowledge management? So, Mr. Royan, please share your opinion with us in how to develop talents in China.
Thank you. You can hear me okay, I take it.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
听得见，
Yes,
okay, no problem.
I really enjoyed listening to the various talks. There was much there. You covered much information. And I think my response is more towards how do we retain tacit knowledge and how can we build it faster? I would just like to say a couple of brief things, really. In terms of, I've mentioned in my presentation that we now have some very exciting tools that can record, that can summarize, that can analyze. The tools are there today. What's most important is the culture, the mindset, that people want to do this. And whenever I've had the privilege of traveling around the world in workshops, I always get people in different countries, in different cultures, with different views about knowledge. They always have the same two questions to me. Why should I share my knowledge? Because my knowledge is my value. I've taken, and I can see Rajesh is smiling, he's been there as well. I've taken so much of my time to do this, and you now want me to share it. That's one thing I hear a lot, whether you agree or disagree. But the second thing I hear is, even if I wanted to share, I don't have time to even do my job properly. So I do not have time to do these extra things. And we learned that when people are introduced to this, they have one of three beliefs or paradigms. The first one is, the normal one, when people are asked is, I don't have time to even do my job. I don't have time for this. Then through good education, when we discuss not only what's of benefit for the organization, but also what's of benefit for the individual. When the individual understands the benefit for them, not just the organization, they go to number two, and number two is, well, maybe I should look at this closer. Maybe I should spend time. This looks interesting to me. And then as they understand through their education better, and as they start to learn to apply this, they go to number three, which is the ideal. And that is when people say, now I realize that what I do each day is communicating with people, cooperating with people, collaborating with people, learning, sharing bits, what's needed and urgent. Actually, knowledge management is my work. That is what I've always done, but not realized it. But now I realize it. I realize that there are now tools and better ways to do it even faster and even better. So I wanted to make that first point, the importance of education, really. The other point I wanted to make was that I saw a lot of success in companies in the manufacturing industry, especially, and in airports and airline business and transportation. I realized what they do, those companies that like competence management systems, not every company likes it, but some like it, and their industry sector, competence management with different levels of competence is very important. And the traditional competence management is 3 levels. Level 1, you have an intellectual understanding, but no practical experience whatsoever. So you're not competent. You have intellectually, perhaps you can talk about it, but you can't do it. Level 2 is not only do you understand, but you're starting to apply it, but it's not yet consistent. So you're still not yet competent, but you're on the way. Level 3 is you have an intellectual understanding and practical experience, and you're competent. It's consistent, it's quality. They have been the traditional 3 levels of competence management for many years. But number 4 came in. Initially, I learned from Japanese manufacturers that they introduced level 4, which was not only am I competent, but I can teach others as well. So not everybody wants to do that, but those people that want to go to level 4, and they are recognized for it in the organization and rewarded, what this did is it creates a culture of teachers. And a culture of teachers is a culture of knowledge sharing. So one other way is to have competence levels that encourage that mindset as well. But there's much to this question. Rewards and recognition is important. I've heard a lot in the previous speakers talking about high mobility and brain drain. So we have to look at that very carefully, but I'm going to leave it there for other speakers. That I just wanted to mention those 2.
好，非常感谢罗阳先生。
Well, thank you, Ro Yang. Thank you. Yes, really start from the human perspective, from your self-improvement, self-breakthrough, and to carry on the legacy, carry on the knowledge. And at the very beginning, you just learn by yourself, and then later you are very competent. Later you just be the teacher and share with others. This is also a new window. We would like to invite Rajesh to share with us. Welcome.
I think speaking last after everyone has shared, it's always very interesting because I get to see the aspect from everybody. You know, the stress that Xiaxie is facing in the university, because the employees or the employers are always asking, send us better trained graduates. We want graduates who are ready for the workforce. And that was what Xiaxie sharing for me was. We need to be better equipped. We need graduates who are ready to face what's going on out there. To going on to Chow Min, who was sharing that, you know, the importance of having trainers do our transfer of knowledge, and how knowledge transfer is not only from the trainers, but there's also the emphasis to get the knowledge from the ground up. Listening to the ground on what are the challenges they face, and bringing that back so that we can share this with all our employees who are out there, facing the clients. That was one of my biggest takeaways when Min Cho shared, be it updating SOPs, be it at the loss of talents. But I think Chunling, when she was sharing about the challenges at the airport, you know, learning and knowledge transfer was the biggest, right? And in her, I think based on that example, it is something that we all can understand, because if learning and knowledge transfer doesn't happen at a massive speed, then in an airport, now the resultant could be a major accident if it is not being shared. So there is a lot of emphasis on the need for us to do this, unless we want to have a serious accident. Yep. So from all 3 who have shared, and of course with Ron, the biggest challenge we face is losing talent. How are we going to manage this? Because when we lose talent, we are going to lose knowledge. Unless today we have systems in place, right? I think Chunling also talked about visualizing knowledge. Now, that is really the way of the future. Organizations have already gone into dashboarding, gone into graphical pictures or graphical graphics of how KM or managing knowledge is going to help. And these are all the painkillers that we can use in order for us to address the pain that we will have if we lose people to retirement or lose people to resignation, right? So when we are able to address back into our organization with these painkillers first, then we have won the mind and the heart. And when we have won the mind and the heart, then getting them to change a bit of the culture, getting them to understand the points that Ron shared with us, be it education, be it competency mindsets, right? And all of this will then start to bring in that cultural change of why we all need to practice organizational capture of critical and tacit knowledge. For organizations, I think, especially in China, where the rate of change is happening at massive speeds, there is really a very strong requirement for organizations to be smart and organizations to be future ready. And in order to do this, we need to be better prepared. We need to be better equipped. We need to solve critical knowledge issues. We need to improve communications, visualize our knowledge. And last and not least, the need for us to get leadership involvement. Let the leaders lead by example. And therefore, we will be able to push the need for critical and tacit knowledge for our business success. That's my point and my thoughts, Mike. Thank you.
Thank
you very much, Rajesh. Thank you for the future-oriented the enterprise development. We believe that we need to keep abreast with HUANG. We need to introduce the tacit knowledge and the visualization and the smart intelligence to realize the transfer of the tacit knowledge to retain talents, avoid the brain drain. Thank you very much. Thank you. Next, I want to discuss a topic with you. I want to share something with me. I mean, China, as the Rajesh mentioned about China has a rapid economic growth and also higher demand for various talents at the national level. It has proposed the training talents goals, training young scientists, excellent engineers, and craftsmen, etc. So for these kind of talents, would you please share your perspective with us? How to do? Do you have any suggestions? Thank you very much. Well, I would like to say something. For that kind of the training or the talents, that we have some suggestions. And as you mentioned, that some enterprises have some parties and some outcome, and we would like to share with you about our ideas. I would like to summarize in 4 points. So things about first is extraction. We just extraction this knowledge with the extraction knowledge and the coding and the transfer and the dissemination. We hope that there will be matching between the people and the position, and also these people mastering at extraction. These are the masters of extraction. They will be given enough time and the space, so they will be able to extract the knowledge and play a very important role in the organization. When we are selecting these extraction master, they should be really well masters, gurus. Many companies they have internalized the masters there's an internal position to do this kind of extraction. For example, extraction of the experience internally periodically. This is the first point. And second is coding. Coding is also very important. Our suggestions to the companies in terms of the format and also contents of extraction, I need to organize some activities were very popular among the people. For example, for the frontline workers or sales reps, based on their working scenario and also their special characteristics, to carry out a way which will be welcomed by these front workers, the grassroots workers, not be favored by the senior leaders. For example, like the Rajesh mentioned that there are lots of richer formats. So for example, like animation, like the poster and like cards, or like a course, the brochures and SOP, the procedures on the mobile side or on the PC side, etc. So our suggestion is based on the different kind of the outcome format and also based on our target audience. So we need to do the coding. And thirdly, about the area on the legacy, we say that we need to set up a special position inside the company and put it in our day-to-day planning. Our business number one should be the responsible person for that. In China, over the past many years, for this extraction or the workshop, after workshop, then it's stopped there. There is no continuity. They do not put it into the, for example, the regular work in the training department or the HR department. There is no this kind of a KPI assessment. So just stop and when the project finished. In terms of the knowledge management, the extraction or the carry on of the experience should be the work of the number one boss in the company. The work, and we hope that the number one senior leader should be the champion and to really acknowledge these extraction masters to extract the experience from the company. And also, when the knowledge be extracted, then we will elevate that into the company standard or enterprises standard. So this knowledge will be shared and disseminated. So in terms of this way, and we need to kind of easy way and to make this knowledge be large or be small, be scaled up or be scaled down. So every people will be share and or enjoy this knowledge at a very easy way. So these are some suggestions in terms of the procedure or the flow, and also some suggestions for the companies and for the industry. For our magazine, we are a magazine for training the talents. Every year we have the tens of thousands of the forums with a lot of participations. The annual meetings, exchanges that we have found a lot of smart companies with their brands, the best practice come to our national forums, sharing their practice with other people. For example, we have some good practices like Huawei, Fangtai, Hainan. They are not only limited to the workflow. Actually, there are a lot of the kind of the leading enterprises. They have some methodologies or the industry methodologies, and also share that knowledge with others. And so this is also some kind of brand building for the companies. Also, and I mentioned about the talents, and from that perspective, it's also a wonderful way to attract talents. When we are doing the training, when doing the human talents resources development, this is also a very way to attract the talents for the best practice and best export. This will benefit our audience, benefit our industry, and also benefit the China's economic development. Finally, they will help the company to recruit the best talents and retain the best talents, also addressing the brain drain. We found out that with some companies, when they are sharing with us, there is a kind of a learning and a very good the virtuous cycle, and to have the upgrading and the iteration. So we would like to encourage those key personnel to upgrade their knowledge so as to have the influence in the industry.
Therefore, we can connect an industrial standard with company standards. Every year, in terms of knowledge management, we made a lot of efforts. CTDC talent and certifying programs that we are now currently running. There are curriculums and developers and consultancies and experience extractors and management experts. There are several categories. Every year, we have nurtured 1,000 talents and out of each category. So we hope to empower those practitioners, and we hope students or graduates can develop in their respective areas and industries. So that are my observations and advices, and I would like to give to companies. Thank you, President Zhou, for sharing with us your observations and from industry's perspective, especially some guidance for methodologies and from 4 perspectives. Now, President Xie, please share more with us. Thank you, host. To listening to the sharings from international experts and domestic experts, and I have been inspired a lot. So, in our development of talents, and when our students and graduates or undergraduates and about to leave before they leave the campus, and we can help them to understand more about the skills requirements of companies. And those experience accumulated by companies can be passed on to universities and further passed to students. And then they can be better connected with the industry, so that can shorten their development circle rapidly. Thank you for your sharing. And previously, best practices and best practice of President Huang. So, President Huang, can you share with us, in your experience, how do you develop those craftsmanship or technicians with high skill sets requirement? Thank you, host. In terms of experience extraction, centering around Ms. Zhou's experience, we have started to realize that at least experiences can be learned from those 5% of excellent performances in companies. We have developed or extracted experiences to some extent, but I also learned more and get more inspirations from today's exchange. Apart from knowledge and extraction, we can also letting others to extract our experiences from their perspective. So, President Xie, you can take your faculties and the students to visit our company and to get a feeling about our management. And also, from your perspective, you can think about and give feedback to us. Are there better ways to extract knowledge and experience? So that is another person's perspective to extract knowledge. And then we hope there can be more standardized approaches for coding. Apart from Ms. Zhou's sharing to other experts and may also have a better technical solutions for coding. And thirdly, in terms of inheritance, our company, we can say that so far there are 300 part-time coaches. So they have different roles. Each employees once enter our companies and they have a different directions, such as the comprehensive skill sets and are required for some of them, or some are embarked on a technical pathway. And I would provide 4 roles for a coach. First, a teacher's role. So some are the theoretical trainings and would be given to him or her as a teacher, and then a mentor. So standards of management and of our company and industries and would be taught and would be passed on, because for civil aviation, we need a military standardized management to guarantee safety. That's the second role. And thirdly, and it's a trainer or coach's role. So this coach indicates the coaches of a business units. They need to be managers, so they can coach others from a practical perspective. And lastly, it is a guider. So that means developing talents with comprehensive skills. Previously, we have invited Wang Xu to give lectures. So who is a lecturer or mentors and in terms of management skills? And now there is an extractor's role for tacit knowledge. Therefore, for those type of mentors, they need to be capable to extract those tacit knowledges. We also need to develop such a culture. It's a mechanism or a system. And we also need a scientific standard. What we need more are a batch of people to actually implement what I have mentioned. Thank you very much. This is a very precious opportunity to share. Experts domestically and overseas that have shared with us their perspectives and practices. So, Mr. Rajesh, can you share more with us about what are the practices in talent development and overseas?
But I just wanted to share on one of the issues that I think everyone touched on. How are we looking forward for talent in the future? And, I teach in NTU, Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. And every semester, I have 30 graduates from China, from all over China, who take my class. I teach knowledge management strategy. And very much similar to what Chunling as well as, I think, CSC has shared. Today, the university doesn't take academics to be their lecturers. Today, the practitioners are coming in as the part-time professors, the part-time lecturers. And the reason is simple. There is enough that we can learn from the textbook. What the students need today to be better equipped is to learn from people who in their day job are practicing KM, who do KM for a living. And hearing about KM today, not about KM 15 years ago. I mean, yes, you have to understand the fundamentals, but what has changed? So in my teachings, either in KM strategy in Nanyang in Singapore or in Indonesia, what has changed is bringing the practical side of what KM can do. And it is from my China students that I learned about Haidilao, I learned about Huawei, I learned about Tencent, I learned about Luckin Coffee, the challenges, the strategy, and their winning formula. So when students come together like this and they share their experience, that's where the knowledge exchange happens. And that's where this model of growth happens. So I think today's model is empowerment, is growth, and that is how we will keep talent within our universities, talent which are ready to go into the workforce and ready to learn from mistakes. Yes, we are all going to make mistakes. They're going to learn from mistakes. They are not going to be afraid to make mistakes. So that's what I think is different and what I have witnessed. I think today, in the last 3 years, I have taught about 200 China students, graduates from China, all over China. Yeah. So it's been an amazing journey for me. And I think the future is bright with them coming back into China. Thanks, Mike.
好，谢谢 Rajesh 先生。我们注意到 Yang 先生呢，除了
Thank
是
you, Mr. Rogers and Mr. Yang is an chairman of the Knowledge Management Association and also a famous CEO of a famous consulting company. So can you share with us about developing talents and what are your advices, and especially regarding tacit knowledge management and development? Thank you.
That was for me, yes.
Yes, the question is for you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much for that. Developing the talent. Let me just share a couple of things that I've observed in Cambridge as well, and it gives me an opportunity to introduce another dimension. We're talking about how we develop the talent of others, but we have talked about empowerment, which I'm very pleased, and the need for, ideally, people to take self-responsibility for their talent development as well. Let me share what I mean by that. When I first started working with knowledge management, it was seen only as an organizational thing. The organization does knowledge management, and how can we get people to want to do it for the organization? But in recent years, with more empowerment, because people are giving more empowering tools and better education, we've seen a new realization that in addition to organizational talent development, organizational knowledge management, there is personal knowledge management. There is team knowledge management. And in Cambridge, I regularly talk with students who tell me that even if they go and work for an organization that doesn't want to do knowledge management, they want to do it for themselves. This is what they need for the 21st century. It's a critical skill. It's self-responsibility. And there is a difference between the methods and tools and techniques of personal knowledge management to the methods, tools, and techniques for team knowledge management, to the methods, tools, and techniques and strategies for organizational knowledge management. And so this development of talent is very, very interesting now that we're starting to see self-responsibility and even more empowerment occurring with the more powerful tools. That's what I'd like to add today, Mike? And I can't, do I have time? I'm conscious of the time, you see, so do I have time to continue or not?
Please go on, please.
Just very briefly, the other point I wanted to mention very briefly is because we work on an innovation park, in an innovation hub, we have lots of small, talented people starting companies, and they all sit together in the same room, and they don't need knowledge management like the big companies because they know everybody and they know everything because they're all working closely together and collaborating. But as these companies in the Innovation Center become successful and grow, then they have to work in different rooms and different offices and different buildings and maybe even different countries. And the knowledge gets fragmented. And the problem in big companies is fragmented knowledge. They don't know who knows, they don't know what they know, they repeat the same mistakes, they reinvent the same problems time and time again. Knowledge management, whether you are a small company, if you apply knowledge management principles as you grow, the knowledge is not going to fragment. If you're a large company and it is fragmented and you have a strategy for knowledge management, then the knowledge, it starts to act more like the companies working together as one, as smaller companies. So thank you for that opportunity to mention.
Thank you very much. We really have a valuable time. We have domestic, international friends where they have a very good communication, very good and very nice. Well, we have a lot of questions. Well, good, wonderful, wonderful. Well, I have a question. Well, our foreign experts share with us about knowledge and management. For example, they have some individual knowledge and management and group knowledge management and organization knowledge and management. Well, we have some like three Chinese knowledge management experts. They just discussed with me about what is the future knowledge management direction. He just mentioned in the future, maybe we need to switch from the organization to the facing the individual. I just want to know from our foreign experts, is there a trend from the organization to the individual? Is there this trend? Secondly, second question, in terms of the technology, you know that in other countries, the research is advanced. Well, do you see any technology trend in terms of knowledge management? Thank you. So, this is a question for our foreign experts.
Rajesh, do you want to? I'm happy to answer.
Go ahead, Raj.
And after you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. So I can answer the part on technology. I think the beauty of technology is that it's changing every 1 or 2 years. So when we come down to the basics of KM and we talk about people, process, and technology, I always tell organizations that focus on the people, right? Focus on the process. Well, when you look at technology, there are many out there and it's going to change every year. So how much you invest all depends on what you need to run your business, what you need and what you define to be your success factors. So I wouldn't invest so much into technology because there's going to be something better coming out in 1 or 2 years' time, right? And today with open AI and OpenNet, much of this technology is also available at a fraction of the cost. So what I'll say is let's fix the people and the process first. The technology can be an enabler that comes in later. Over to you, Ron.
Thank you. Right. I'll answer the other question then on the different levels. Yes, I did mention three. That's a very good question that's been asked, by the way, and I'm glad it's been raised. I mentioned three: personal, team, and organization. Actually, we work with five. In addition to those three, we work with inter-organizational knowledge management. Many companies, when they start knowledge management, rightly concentrate on better managing their own knowledge within the organization. But then they realize that the really valuable knowledge as well as internal is with our customers, is with our suppliers. And if we can inter-organizationally manage knowledge, that's even more powerful. And the final dimension is global. We live in a global world today, especially with the technologies that link us all together. We can all instantly communicate, collaborate, learn, and share. But to answer the question, it's not necessarily that there is a trend from organizational to personal. My view is that all five are essential to consider. They all work with one another. Many companies start with organizational knowledge management, and in the early days of knowledge management, many companies failed with knowledge management because they only focused on the organization and the benefits to the organization. When they learned that you also need to educate people so they understand the benefits for them in their team and as individuals, then it started to work. I propose that the 5 dimensions, personal, team, organization, inter-organization, and global, should all be considered. And if anybody is interested more, please contact GO-TKM. I have a paper I've written on the 5 dimensions of knowledge and innovation, and I think they're all important. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other experts you want to have a question? Well, I have a question. I have a request. I know that I learned a lot from your sharing, especially from our foreign experts. So where we can have a long-term sharing with you? Where and then what kind of way I can have long-term sharing with you? I have the same question because we have so many questions. So can we have a long-term communication or long-term channel with you? If we have questions, we can communicate with you. We are looking forward to have more communication with our international experts.
Susie, I'll send you my WeChat number.
Absolutely, of course.
No, I think GO-TKM is GO-TKM is such a massive setup. Today, globally, there are so many KM communities. You have KM Global Network. You have so many countries have their own non-profit KM societies. And GO-TKM is bringing all of us together to a different channel, right? So I'm sure that you can reach out to LinkedIn, you can reach out to us through our own personal websites, or you can reach out to us through WeChat. And I'm very familiar with WeChat because all my students are from China. So I'm comfortable with WeChat as well. There you go.
So Mr. Rong, and any comments, any messages to our domestic students, domestic listeners?
Did you mean the last question, how we can continue, or do you mean final comments to students? Can you repeat the?
提一些建议吧，提一些建议。对。
Just to give us some suggestions, final suggestions to our audience. Thank you.
Right. Well, I did also want to take the opportunity to very briefly mention that it has been mentioned that there are standards, international standards. I think it's important that organizations at least become aware of the standards. They're not expensive. Some of them in this cluster of knowledge and innovation standards are the price of an expensive book or a small training course. So become aware, but it's not that we say that once you've reached the standard, you have finished. No, knowledge management is a journey. The standards will make sure that the fundamental principles of knowledge management and the fundamental requirements to start to turn this into action in the organization are there. But we must not forget, because of the rapidly changing world we're living in, thought leadership is even more important. Innovation is even more important, new knowledge creation. And that all comes from people, and that's the point that I would say, that our tacit knowledge is unique. There is nobody in the world, no two people that have exactly the same tacit knowledge. It's unique to all of us. And in our organizations, the challenge, therefore, is to at least get a shared understanding and a shared knowledge of the principles. And you can apply that for students. And I'm very excited with what I'm seeing here in Cambridge with the students and how they are interested in better ways to create knowledge faster and at a higher quality. And I wish them every success in the future. It's going to be a very exciting the next 5 or 10 years.
Thank
you, thank you, thank you. We spent more than 1 hour sitting down to have a discussion where you discuss the tacit knowledge and management, status quo, and application. And also, you gave us a lot of suggestions based on all your own experiments. And also for the future knowledge management, you gave us some good suggestions. What areas we need to pay attention to, and what kind of future will be in the future. You gave us a very clear picture. And Mr. Ron Yang just mentioned about the knowledge management standard, how to have the principle, how to be clear about the requirement, and also give us 5 dimensions to take a look at the knowledge management. This is a brand new concept, especially the breakthrough. This tacit knowledge is only knowledge, tacit knowledge, but actually it's mutual and it's a two-way. It not only for the organization but also for the individual growth. And we have the international experts as well as domestic experts. They have their understanding, their practice, their studies and explorations. Thank you very much. Thank you for your great talk. We would like to thank you and I hope you continue the communication with us. Wish you all the best. Yeah, Chinese New Year is coming. Also, Christmas Day is coming. I wish you Happy New Year. Oh, we conclude today's forum. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. 非常感谢。
And thank you everybody. Ryan.
谢谢，跟各位专家我学到了很多。这个特别感谢你。
Thank you. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jack. Wow. Well, yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Our translation is great. Well, I would like to learn from you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I hope I will go to Hainan. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ron. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Mr. Zhou. Thank you, Mr. Huang. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay,
Good.
can I?
So, yeah, Mr. Rongyang, you can just
I can leave now. Yes, can I?
yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good
Yes.
to see you, Rajesh, again.
Hey, nice
See
seeing
you.
you, Ron. We'll
See
catch
you.
up.
Bye, everybody.
Yes, I know time is late, so just a 1 minute summary. We had a wonderful online forum today. We invited 14 guest speakers to give us a very insightful practical learning shares about tacit knowledge management. And also we have a wonderful panel discussion as an ending. So tomorrow we will continue this journey, and we will invite another powerful 14 guest speaker and also have a panel discussion. So looking forward to meeting you again, and see you tomorrow. See you the Forum for Global Organizational Tacit Knowledge Management tomorrow. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
党的20大报告提出，加快构建中国话语和中国叙事体系，展现可信、可爱、可敬的中国形象，讲好中国故事，传播好中国声音。由中共海南省委人。